Hi, I'm Linda. Welcome to my channel, NewAgeBeauty, which is all about aging beautifully. So on this channel, I share what I have learned through my own personal experience, my own evolution as I work to improve myself, mind, body, and spirit, regardless of age. As a former model, I've always been passionate about aesthetics, but what matters most is being strong physically, mentally, and emotionally as we age. So I cover a lot of topics, including fitness, which is the only true fountain of youth, makeup, skincare, at-home cosmetic treatments, in-office professional treatments, personal style, wellness, and most importantly, mindset. Every single day brings a new opportunity to improve something in our lives. So the truth is, we really do feel better when we feel like we look better. So today we are going to talk about one of the very first areas to show signs of aging, and that is our eyes. You may have noticed as you've gotten older that your eyes are looking smaller, more tired, or less defined as the years go on. Well, that's not your imagination. And today I'm going to explain why that happens and what we can do about it to help restore a more refreshed, youthful look by using makeup, supplements, and skincare, along with prevention and reparative cosmetic treatments. So there are some common signs that you may be noticing. Eyes may be appearing smaller and less open. Your upper lids may feel hooded or look heavier. You may be getting some under eye bags or puffiness that won't go away, and there may be dark circles or hollowness under your eyes. A tired or angry look, even when you're rested, is something that we commonly experience, and red, irritated, bloodshot eyes is also common. But the good news is you can improve these issues to varying degrees, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, understand what's happening. Let's start with why our eyes are changing as we age. So by the time we are in our 20s, we start to lose some of our collagen. And that gradually continues throughout our life. And those collagen levels plummet when we get into our 50s and begin the menopause period. So what does collagen do? Well, it's the protein that keeps our skin firm and elastic. It's essentially the architecture that shapes our face. And as I said, by the time we're in our 50s, we rapidly start losing those levels. And so we will see a lot of changes in our face happening fairly quickly. So this rapid loss of elasticity and sagging to the entire face can especially affect our eyes, where the skin is the thinnest. So as we age, our eyebrows begin to droop and appear sunken. This happens when the collagen that once provided support beneath the brows gradually breaks down over time. And the loss of this structural support causes the brows to shift away from the brow bone, leading to sagging skin and fine lines beneath the brows. And of course, gravity only accelerates this wonderful process. So then we have bone loss. We may not realize it, but the bones around our eyes, particularly around the orbital rim, actually shrink with age. I don't think most of us think about bones shrinking, but that's exactly what happens. And this gradual bone loss actually reduces the support structure around the eyes, making them appear smaller and more sunken. Then we have fat and volume loss to deal with. We lose the fat pads around our eyes. Especially around the brows and the cheeks, which can lead to that hollowed out look and the shadows under our eyes. So it's actually fat as we get older in our face is something we covet and want more of, unlike on the rest of our body. Then we have skin laxity and gravity. So over time, as our upper eyelids begin to droop, they become hooded. And the lower eyelids can puff out, creating those dreaded under eye bags that we all hate. So how can we address some of these issues? Well, first of all, and the simplest of all treatments are topical treatments, basically skincare for the eyes. So peptides will actually stimulate collagen. Now, personally, I use One Skin topical eye supplement, which helps with crow's feet and fine lines, but there's a lot of wonderful skin products out there, but you want to look for something that has peptides in it. And then a lot of eye creams will use caffeine to reduce puffiness, and niacinamide to brighten dark circles. Well, I use for those, both of those, I use a product by Lash, which is sold in a lot of doctor's offices. Their restorative eye treatment, which treats both of those areas, so it's more efficient. And then retinol, which when used cautiously can firm and smooth the skin under the eyes. For that, I use Murad Youth Renewal Serum because it's less irritating than other ones that I have tried. But again, there's many products to choose from. But no matter what you use, always use your ring finger to gently pat in the cream or serum and never rub, and pull that gentle area under your skin. So next we have supplementation. There's a few things we can do there. And it's how we essentially treat ourselves internally that can affect the aging of our eyes. So taking collagen powder or capsules can help tremendously. It's been shown in several studies to increase skin elasticity and hydration, not just around the eyes, but in your face, in your skin in general, in addition to reducing the appearance of wrinkles. A review and analysis of 19 studies showed improvements in skin firmness, elasticity, suppleness, and moisture content, which it makes skin appear more hydrated and moist. Then some studies also suggest that collagen supplementation can help reduce joint pain, particularly in individuals with osteoarthritis, which is something that I suffer from. And I can tell you that I definitely see a difference when I take it versus when I go off of it. So I am now on it religiously because I have seen a pretty dramatic difference. So I take collagen supplements daily. I also have been taking, mostly because my arthritis has been getting worse, something called Skin Aid, which is a multi-award-winning anti-aging collagen drink. And it has ingredients that work to boost your skin's natural production of collagen and hyaluronic acid. And that can improve the way your skin looks and feels in as little as 30 days. That is available through certain physicians' offices. I have some links that will direct you to some places that you can order it online if you're interested in trying it. It's pricey, but at first you want to start out using it every day, and then you can use it like every other day once you've gotten into the regimen. So it becomes more affordable. Then we have phytoceramides for dry skin. So ceramides are lipids or fats that make up a significant portion of the skin's outer layer, the stratum corneum, and that acts like mortar between the skin cells, holding them together and forming a protective barrier. So as we age, ceramide production gradually decreases like most other things, leading to drier skin, fine lines, and wrinkles. So I take phytoceramide supplements to improve my skin health by boosting the skin's natural ceramide levels, and that's vital for maintaining a healthy skin barrier and helping skin be hydrated. I do notice that my skin is less dry and looks plumper when I take these supplements, no doubt. And when I stop taking them for 2 or 3 weeks, I definitely see and feel the difference. Then we have dry eyes, which is something I suffer from. And that can be caused by hormonal changes, autoimmune issues, which I have, and certain medications that can contribute to dry eyes as we age. So this can be uncomfortable and can affect your clarity of vision, but it can also make your eyes very red visibly. And I suffer from this, as I mentioned, and use preservative-free lubricating eye drops to bring me relief. But recently I discovered something called NutriTears, and that's a supplement that hydrates eyes from within. And those results you can feel within 2 to 4 weeks. I've only been using it for about 3 weeks now, but I can already feel a difference. So how can we improve the look of our smaller aging eyes? Well, there are some eye drops. First of all, Lumify, which I'm sure you've either tried or seen advertised relentlessly. Those are FDA approved to significantly reduce redness, helping your eyes look whiter and brighter. They work in 1 minute and it lasts for about 8 hours, and they are like magic. Then the second one is something called Upneek, and this is also FDA approved. It's a prescription eye drop that temporarily lifts drooping eyelids, so it can actually help you see better. works by causing the eyelid muscle to contract, which elevates the upper eyelid, and that improves both the appearance of the eyes and, in some cases, the field of vision. It is widely available for purchase in dermatologists, plastic surgeons, and eye doctors' offices, or online through prescription services. So I'm going to link one for you, but you can just Google it and find other services. But it is prescription, so they will have to put you through a bit of a routine to approve you. So the next one is lash growth serums. So Latisse, which I'm sure you all have heard of, was the first and the only brand name prescription treatment that was approved by the FDA, proven to grow your lashes longer and fuller and darker, with results typically seen in 16 weeks. So it gave me skin irritation, so I stopped using it. I tried a few other lash enhancing supplements or serums and had issues with all of them. So I gave up on that. But there are a lot of people who've had success with it. And you can certainly go on to Amazon or elsewhere and Google it and find some lash serums that have great reviews. Didn't work for me, which is why I wear lashes. But we're getting to that. So the next thing is devices. So I've talked about this in other videos, but if you haven't watched those, a combination of red light therapy and microcurrent tools that are designed for the eye area can in fact stimulate collagen, which has contributed so much to the drooping and sagginess of our eyes, can help lift the brow, improve circulation, and reduce puffiness. And I use those religiously, and they absolutely make a difference, because when I don't use them, especially the microcurrent, within a week, if I don't use it for a week or two, I absolutely see it. And when I start again, within a week, I can see a dramatic difference. I mean, nothing is going to make a huge difference except surgery, but everything collectively can add up to really, making enough of a difference that you feel much better about how you look. So then we have in-office treatments. So if you're looking for more dramatic results than the things that we've already talked about, you can do Botox, which can lift your hooded eyes and soften your crow's feet area. So Botox is a biomodulator that relaxes muscles in the face and other areas. And everyone certainly has heard about Botox, if not tried it. It is the #1 cosmetic treatment in the world because it does prevent wrinkles that are formed by repeatedly moving certain areas of your face. I've been using it for years, which I've talked about in other videos, in my forehead. It also helps keep my brows elevated. And so my lids don't sag as much as they would otherwise. And it is minimizing my crow's feet. So then we have filler, which can restore volume to those under eye hollows we get. Now, I tried hyaluronic acid filler under my eyes a few years ago, and it definitely helped. It has been worn off for a while. However, there are now some new techniques. There's something called Easy Gel, PRP, and there's other types of PRP, which is essentially a natural injectable filler derived from your own blood. And it helps to restore your lost volume, smooth fine lines and wrinkles, and minimize dark circles and puffiness. So you might want to check that out with a respected dermatologist or cosmetic surgeon if you're interested in learning more. And if I decide to look into it and try it out, I will report back with my results. So the most dramatic results you would get, of course, is surgical or blepharoplasty. Surgery to your upper and or lower eyelids, which can remove the excess skin or fat for a more refreshed look. So if your eyelids are very hooded, or if you have heavy bags under your eyes, that may be your best solution if you are willing to have a surgical procedure. I revealed in my Face Facts video that I'm going to link at the end of this video that I had my eyes done over 12 years ago. So it's long worn off, but I still have some benefits from it. But I think it's holding up really well because some of the other treatments that I have been doing that we're talking about today. So at the end of this video, as I said, I'm going to link that for you so you can learn about everything that I have done in the past and what I continue to do as part of my own anti-aging journey. So then we have lifestyle changes. So we all know getting our beauty sleep really matters. So that's step number one and doesn't cost a thing. Reducing salt to minimize your puffiness. Again, that's free. Staying hydrated. Wearing sunscreen whenever you venture out. And wearing sunglasses daily. UV damage, if you don't know this, it accelerates aging more than anything, especially around the eyes. It causes over 80% of all aging to our skin. I mean, that's a fact. 80% of our aging is caused by UV damage. I think that's one reason why my skin has aged pretty well, is because I have avoided the sun most of my life because I have an autoimmune condition that has forced me to stay out of the sun. So it ended up being a benefit. It's funny how life does that to you. Negatives turn into positives and vice versa. So now we have my favorite part, and that's makeup tips. So some of the things you can do, and I'm going to actually demonstrate some of this, is you can use light or shimmery shadow on the inner corner of your eyes to brighten them. You can tightline the upper lash line on the top or underneath to create the illusion of bigger eyes. You can avoid heavy eyeliner on the lower lash line, which will close in your eyes. You can curl your lashes and use mascara to open up your eyes. And you can contour your upper lids with eyeshadow using darker tones to make areas recede and lighter tones to bring areas forward. And then there's my favorite, which I think makes everybody look better, and that's eyelashes. And that's to visually lift your eyes and disguise hooded eyes and also make them appear much larger. And then there's my favorite, and that's wearing eyelashes to visually lift the eyes, disguise hooded lids, and make your eyes appear much larger. So now I'm going to show you how I do my eye makeup to help my eyes stand out, including some of the products I use, and how I apply my cluster eyelashes that so many of you have asked about. It took me a while to figure out how to demonstrate that since I'm so new at this camera thing, but I think it turned out pretty well. We'll see what you think. I'm now going to show you my eye without eyelashes. Can't believe I'm doing this. Then I'm going to attempt to show you how I put them on. So here we go. So I have the same eye makeup on both eyes, and you'll see that my eye is kind of downturned and looks a lot smaller. And so when I put the lashes on, I carefully select the size, the length, and where to put what length so that I can pull my eye up. So the kind of lashes and the mapping you do will depend on the shape of your eyes and the lashes that you choose. So what I have done, because I haven't figured out how to do it with the main camera, is I'm using my iPhone camera to put them on, to film myself putting them on. So we'll see how that turns out. So wish me luck. Okay, so now I'm going to attempt to show you how I apply the eyelashes. So I start with a pair of tweezers and the glue that comes with it, the Lilac Street. I do the Pro Black. It also comes in white. And you start by putting on the glue like mascara. So here we go. You want to avoid the water line. I can't see very well in this, looking in my iPhone to do it. So I can show you a close-up. Okay, so I think that's good enough. Now I will take the individual lashes. I start on the outside. I'm doing a 14 millimeter, and I'm just going right under the lash, my existing lashes. And I'm literally just placing it right on the lash. And now I'm doing the same thing again. Another 14 millimeter. right next to it. Now you can, especially if you get thinner ones or different style, you may want to overlap them a little bit. I don't do that. I put them side by side. I like having a little space between the lashes because I like that kind of wispy look. So I place them side by side, and you're going to place them on the lash, not on the waterline. You're not going to go that far down. So I've done 3 of the 14 millimeter, and now I'm going to take a 12, and I'm going to put that right here on the inside. And then I'm going to take, this tweezer that I'm going to tell you about in a second, and I'm going to just apply pressure from both sides using this lash wand. So it's that simple. Now, this little widget is made by Lashify. I started out with Lashify when I first began during COVID because it was a well-known brand at the time. They were considered the best. I also then pressed them together like I'm going to do here, just to strengthen that bond even more. And so it was the best. It came with the kit. I bought the kit that came with this device in it, and a glue, and just a variety of different things. Their Get Started kit. Problem with their lashes is they're just too delicate, and they're really ridiculously expensive. So I started experimenting with different brands, and then ended up loving the Lilac brand. So you're going to need something like this, and Lilac, if you get their kit, comes with one. I'm sure it works perfectly fine, but something that's going to clamp them down for you and make that bond nice and strong. So hopefully you can see how they are up close. Got that done. So I have primed and prepped my face for makeup, and I have put on already this lid lifting treatment by City Beauty that helps just a little bit. It's not huge, that's why I didn't bother showing it on camera, but I feel like it does lift your eyes just a little bit. And then I also have on this, which is my favorite. I think I learned about this from Rissa. My favorite eyeshadow base. Eyeshadows just cling to it, and it neutralizes the color. It comes in a few different colors. So those are already on, and now I am going to go ahead and put on my foundation. So I'm going to start with this Bobbi Brown color corrector, and I'm just going to put a little bit under here to tone down the blue. And I'll put a little under my nose, tone down the blue and the red. So this makes the concealer, you won't need quite as much concealer, although I'm big on concealing. So, because I like to use it also for contouring. So I think that should have brightened it up. And I'm using Angie Hot and Flashy's famous concealer brush. All of these things will be linked in the description box and on my Shop My page. So now we're starting essentially with a blank canvas. So I'm going to start now by doing some eyeshadow, and I am going to share my favorite eyeshadow palette of all time, and it's absolutely a mess. And it's the Viseart. And I'm not sure what color group this is. It's worn off. I've had this so long. This is my second one. but they're all mattes. They're neutrals, but there are a couple of brighter tones in here that I really like. I go very soft tone with colors, but this one I dabble a little bit with some brighter colors. So I'll show you that. I already have my lashes on, and part of this video is showing you how I did my lashes, which I did prior to starting my makeup. Okay, so now I am going to start with putting in a color in the crease, and I start with one of their soft brown tones. Their lightest one is here. It's got a little bit of warmth in it. And then sometimes I find that's a little too dark, so I'll put it with this peach tone. And just pat it right up in the crease. And I am using BK Beauty's 201 brush. That's just fluffy and makes things go on seamlessly, especially if you have that eyeshadow base under it. So doing the same thing now on the other eye. Now I don't have a lot of hooding. I have very deep set eyes. I've admitted this many times before. I've been using Botox for years, which is why I don't have a furrowed brow. And that keeps your brows lifted. I have not had a brow lift or anything like that. So this is really all Botox. I have done other procedures, and I did a video on that called Face Facts that you're free to, I'll link it at the end of this if you are interested in that. But this is, up here is mostly Botox. All Botox, actually. And skincare, of course. Okay, so now I've just warmed that up a little bit, created some shape. And now I'm going to take another awesome brush, and this is by Rare Beauty. And I use this for a few different things, but it's really great at all of those different things. So I'm going to start by taking the lightest color out of this palette, and just going right up here on the brow. And then turning it, see how it's shaped, so you've got a sharp end and then you've got a curved end. So I'm going to take the sharper end and put it in the light tone again, and then I'm going to go right in here. Everybody needs to brighten up the inner part of their eye. So do that on this eye. And then I will take the flatter side, and I'll take this lighter color, and I'll mix it with a little bit of that just because I want it a little bit lighter. And then that's how I put shadow on my lid, is with this awesome brush. So you see how easy that is? Mix these two colors. And it just lays it down so beautifully. Okay, now I am going to do the outer edge, and I'm going to take another BK Beauty brush, their 209. I'm going to take this taupey tone again, but I'm going to mix it with a little bit of this. It's got a little bit of a purple undertone to it. And I'm going to go to the outside of the eye and carve out. It's kind of a V shape. Do the same thing on the other side. And of course, the goal is to contour your eye. And so depending on the shape of your eye, what you always want to do with makeup is dark, of course. You put something dark on, it's going to recess it, push it back farther. And if you use a light tone, it's going to bring it forward. And so in this case, I want to create the shape And so it's kind of pushing it back and pulling it out at the same time. And it's, as you open your eyes, it's now gives you the effect of your eyes being larger by creating that dimension out there. Okay, so now I'm going to do some liner. And for this, I use Huda Beauty, their Creamy Kohl Liner, which I think is an amazing product. And I love it because it doesn't really transfer, and it's really easy to put on, easy to control, and it doesn't really transfer. So if you're going to use it, if you're going to do some water lining, and you do it on the lower, it won't go to the upper, and vice versa. So how I use this is I start by putting it on the inner upper, but very, very thin. I'm not trying to make it that space feel, be too heavily lined because it'll make your eyes feel smaller. So I'm just drawing the smallest line right in there. So it's giving it dimension and outlining it without adding bulk to it. So if you're trying to make your eyes look larger, what you want to do is start with what's the highest point of your eyeball. And then so from the high, let me show you. It's easier to show than explain. So the highest point of my eye is right here. So I am going to line from there out. Getting a little thicker towards the outside, because that's going to lift the eye. So hold on a sec, I just broke off the piece. That hasn't happened to me before with this pencil. It's usually very supple. Okay, let me go back. So then here, again, starting right down on the lash line from the highest point of my eye, and then moving it up higher as I get to the outer edge. Now, I did that a little more than I wanted to, but you get the point. I'm going to clean that up just a little bit. So we'll do it on this eye a little better. Okay, so now I'm going to start in here. Just going to draw that very thin line just to give it definition. Then I'm going to start at the widest point here, and I'm going to continue on to the outer edge, getting a little bit thicker as we go out, giving it a little bit of a wing. So that's done right. But the shape is the way I want my eyes to be. I've elongated them and I've lifted them by making that outer edge a little bit thicker and pulling it up. And another thing you can also do is take a brush, a fluffy brush, and take a fairly light, this might be a little too dark, but I have it open, a neutral color, and just put it on the outer edge, and just very gently and lightly pull it out. So I would normally do that with a lighter color. So in this case, I'll go over it with a lighter color. That will give the illusion of it being, of your eyes being even more lifted. I am going to do under the eye. So I'm going to take a pencil brush, okay, a pointed brush, and I'm going to put some color. I'm going to use this plum tone here and gently put some under the lash line. Okay. and take a slightly darker color, the outer edge, and pull it up to meet the top part. I use different concealers, and I always use at least two. And I use them depending on, how much coverage I'm going for, of course, and how I feel like I look that day. If I feel like my eyes are particularly dark or I look particularly tired, I will use more. So my favorite concealers today are the Estee Lauder Double Wear Matte Stay in Place Concealer, it's called, and then the MAC Studio Radiance. So this is very matte, and this has some radiance, as you can tell from the names. So what I do is I get rid of my circles by using this Double Wear Matte. And I'm going to put some on and show you. I'll do the light in there. And then, so on the darkest areas is where I will put this. So you notice I've gone down here a little bit. That's because I have a hollowing, and I also put it out here on the edge of my eye. I have a scar here from when I was a little kid. So again, the goal is to try and neutralize, bring forward the darker areas. So where's my special brush? Here it is. I'm basically leaving it where it is, but patting it in place. I'll also put it in the folds of my nose, because I always have redness there, and under my corners of my mouth. And now I'm going to use the MAC to do a little bit of contouring. And this is the one that has a more radiant finish. So I'm going to do some there, under here. And remember, all this gets powdered and blushed and all of that. So as we get older, we know our brows head down, south. So it's important that we try and lift them when we apply our brow product. So what I do is I start with just brushing them up. I mean, this is pretty routine stuff. No magic here, except you just need to do it. So brush them up. Find a brow pencil where the color matches really well with your brows, a little bit darker. And then I have 3 or 4 different brow pencils that I like. This is my current favorite by Patrick Ta. Part of it is that I just love, love, love the color. It just is perfect for the color of my brows, which are a taupe color. I am a natural blonde, guys, although I highlighted, I'm a dark blonde. And I'm not even gray yet, just starting to get a sprinkling of gray. My grandmother didn't get gray till on my maternal side, didn't get gray till she was in her 70s. So I came by it honestly. So anyway, this is about like my natural hair color. And what I'm doing, here's a tip for you, actually. I used to do my brows differently. And I looked back at a photo from when I was modeling. I was showing it to somebody. And I noticed the shape of my brows were so different than they were today. And I thought, well, why don't I try and make them look like that again? To the extent you can. And that's what I've been doing now. They were down lower here than I had been filling them in. So I now go down a little bit. And then once I get to here, I want to pull up to obviously lift the brow. So it might be interesting to look back at your younger pictures and see how your brows were and see if that's something that you can recreate. We're never going to recreate it fully, but it might the original shape that we were born with. Maybe we can play on that. I know it helped me. Okay. This is like watching paint dry, I know. And once those are drawn on, I then will take this Slick Day Brow, and it's a gel, so you have to be careful not to get too much of it because it'll get all over your forehead. And it has a nice comb on it instead of a brush, which I like, and comb them up, whatever brows you have. So your eyes help tell your story, and with the right care and tools, they can keep shining beautifully at any age. I'd love to hear from you what products or treatments you've tried for your eyes that you think have worked well. Please share in the comments below. I love it when we share the beauty in all of us. And if you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell for more beauty, wellness, and mindset tips for women over 50. All the products that were mentioned in this video are listed in the description box below. See the more link in the gray box, including a link to my Shop My page that has everything listed, so it's easy to scroll and you can just click in and learn more about any of the products. And here are a few more videos that might help you with your aging journey. I look forward to seeing you again and sharing the beauty in all of us. In the meanwhile, keep aging beautifully.